protesters were arrested at the University of South Florida during a pro-Palestinian demonstration. 80 people showed up, and they began setting up tents. This is near the MLK Plaza, and it's supposed to show solidarity with the other protests that are going on across the country. But they arrested these 3 people and sent out a warning that the school would not be tolerating any kind of demonstration involving tents and setting up structures like that.
No encampments.
And exactly, no encampments. But this has been going on all over the country, and so far 800 arrests nationwide, most of them at Columbia University, starting back in April 18th when 100 people were arrested because of what they were doing. And they're still having problems now because people have taken over a building at Columbia University.
Dana called it Hamas Hall now.
Yes. Well, Hamilton Hall, and maybe they've changed the sign. I don't know. But so that's what's going on.
They broke in. So, I mean, those students you would think at some point are going to be arrested. They went obviously beyond protesting and putting up tents. Now they've broken into and taken over a building.
Right. And this was the school where they were they've been negotiating with them all last week. Oh, we're going to extend the deadline to kick them out. We're going to extend the deadline. We're negotiating. And now look where that left them.
Yeah. You don't negotiate with terrorists or terrorist organizations.
The negotiations essentially ended with they're going to take down the tent city.
Yeah.
So this is a reaction to that.
So they moved into the building. Like, you know what? Fine, take the tents. We'll go into air conditioning.
We'll just go inside.
That's why I think it was important here in Florida. DeSantis sent the message, and then you saw the University of Florida send the message, and clearly USF is sending a message too. Don't go down that road. Protests are one thing. Encampments and this kind of out-of-control nonsense, that's another thing. We're seeing it in Texas too. And those officers, I don't know if you saw those videos of the members of law enforcement in Texas who were dragging those protesters. They look so pissed. They look like, are you kidding me? This is what I got to be doing. I got to be dragging these kids away, kicking and screaming and crying. Are you kidding me? But that's kind of where we are at the moment.
So the Tampa Bay Lightning season is over. They were beat by the Florida Panthers in the first round.
Yeah.
4 games to 1 the final in the 7-game series, and they lost 6-1 in Sunrise last night. Tough loss, a couple of goals that were called back by the officials because of interference.
There was definitely one that, look, I think it was Sorelli who was right there in front of the goalie for the Panthers, and there was a little bit of contact, but the idea that was interference, I mean, I thought that was a bad call. I don't know if that would have changed the outcome. I said Florida Panthers. What did I call it yesterday, the day before? It was a stay of execution, winning that 4th game, just because the Panthers, they seem like the better team all season long, not just in the series.
A lot of questions for the Lightning at this point. This is the 2nd season in a row where they've been eliminated in the first round.
Yeah.
Steven Stamkos is 34 years old. He's in the last year of his contract and will become a free agent on July 1st unless they come up with a new deal. And he has spent his entire 16-year career here in Tampa Bay.
This is very much like the Mike Evans situation with the Bucks, where you've got an all-time great player for the organization, and you really want them to spend their entire career with the team here in Tampa, and you hope that they can work out some kind of a deal. But Stamkos still at the top of his game, as Mike Evans pretty much is too. So he's going to want to get paid. This is why it's so difficult to carry out these dynasties for any kind of a lengthy period, because players get older, players want to get paid. When you're winning like that, it's harder to get those top-end prospects. So this is just part of the process.
I think what may be frustrating for fans, though, is you think of the glory years, and it's always tough to see sort of the end of an era.
Right. Feels like it was just yesterday. We're winning back-to-back Stanley Cups.
That's right. That's right. And, we almost had a shot at a 4th.
A third, yeah.
A third. And so, it's one of these things where, you don't want to see things change, but they may have to make some changes if they want to move forward as a franchise. We'll see what they come up with. We know that they're a very well-run team, and whatever decisions they make are probably going to be for the best.
And it has been, again, a really great run for Tampa Bay sports. I mean, between the Lightning, the Bucks, the Rays, and there's no reason to think these 3 franchises can't continue to remain really competitive moving forward.
Yeah, well, maybe the Rays' new uniforms will turn their chances around, because they're having a rough go of it right now.
They are.
But the season is still young. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Governor DeSantis was receiving accolades from Donald Trump. Now, this comes months after Ron DeSantis said some pretty harsh things about the presumptive Republican nominee. such as worthless and kissing the ring.
Yeah.
In particular, what he said in Iowa. You remember when things were getting close to the big presidential primary in Iowa?
There were shots fired.
Yeah. I mean, DeSantis was there, and he said that he was criticizing other Republicans for doing things like, you're the most worthless Republican in America. If you go and kiss the ring, he will call you wonderful. Talking about how Trump treats you when you don't side with him or you're on his bad side.
Right.
So,
Trump destroyed DeSantis throughout the course of the primary campaign. Now that they met and made up, Trump has something a little different to say about Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis is suddenly his best friend.
I mean, it was a glowing review
it really
of the
was.
governor. Now, what I thought was interesting, we talked to the publisher of Florida Politics, Peter Schorsch, earlier in the show. And if you missed that, we're going to have it for you in the podcast. And I recommend you listen because, of course, we got the inside scoop on how all of this went down. We'll have it for you at Ryan Gorman Show on your iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. So he said that this was more of a mutual coming together and mending of the fences than DeSantis just going and kissing the ring, that this in part was Trump needing access to the donors who had backed DeSantis and who have been hesitant to come over to Trump's side because Trump needs money, between the legal fees and the campaign just not raising as much.
If Trump gave him a call, what do you think he was going to do?
Oh, of course. Again, it seems like
Trump's like, I need your money. Get down here now.
Right.
What is DeSantis going to do?
He's going to do it, but it's a little bit like a bit of a win-win where DeSantis gets the accolades. And look, you got to be on Trump's side in today's Republican Party. So DeSantis gets that, and Trump, hopefully for him, he gets some of the donors and works out for everybody.
Well, and I think there's a long-term calculation here for DeSantis.
Exactly.
If he wants a political future, he's got to be on Trump's good side. Right? Because, I mean, look what happened to Laurel Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, she
and
has to
I
deal
think
with
that quiets down now, too, a little bit.
Well, she's got two people running against her now.
Yeah, whether or not the MAGA and, the base really gets behind them or this kind of helps. We'll see. But I think this is all part of that, again, mending of fences.
The problem is, though, is it genuine? I mean,
it's political.
What do you
is anything
believe?
Genuine in politics, Chris, or is it all calculated and part of the game?
I don't think I don't think DeSantis likes Trump. And I don't think Trump likes him either.
Completely agree. And their camps don't like each other. There's no question about that.
No
it's what's
doubt about that.
Politically beneficial, and that's what we saw over the weekend, I think.
Absolutely.
All right, today's top stories with Chris Trenkmann. Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.